we journey to the bustling heart of Douala, Cameroon, where the air hums with life and secrets. Our story begins with a woman named Amira, whose spirit, though bright, felt trapped beneath a heavy shadow. She was a mother, nurturing a precious son, yet her own life seemed to be with her. Her small fabric stall in Nubel, usually a vibrant tapestry of colors, felt like a cage, much like her heart. Amira was in her early 30s, an age when many women in Douala blossomed into stability. But for her, every path led to a dead end. Relationships, like morning dew, vanished by noon. She watched, often with a pang of sorrow, as her childhood friends flaunted glittering lives on social media, grand weddings, sleek cars, and thriving businesses, all seemingly conjured by magic. Amira, however, relied on the humble rents from two tiny studios her late father had bequeathed her, along with the meager earnings from her struggling shop. "When will you bring a man home, Amira?" her mother would sigh, a question that stung like 1,000 bees. Amira had given her all in love, only to be cast aside for an old flame. This gnawing sense of inadequacy, this feeling that she was somehow cursed in the grand dance of life, finally led her to seek answers beyond the ordinary. One twilight, a sympathetic friend, seeing Amira's despair, whispered a name, a contact for a spiritual consultant hidden away in Bona Berry. Amira's troubles, her wise cousin explained, were not just of this world. "It is a spiritual battle, my dear," she insisted, her voice soft but firm. Her cousin, who knew the sting of public scorn all too well, urged Amira towards ancient ways, fervent prayers and purifying baths. Amira, desperate for any flicker of light, adopted these rituals. She bought the special herbs, the soaps, and spent countless nights in humid steam seeking solace. But instead of peace, an unnerving stillness settled around her. Potential suitors vanished like mist, and her business lay dormant, as if under a spell. She felt not cleansed, but more deeply cursed. The memory of the whispered name returned to Amira. With a heart heavy with both fear and a sliver of hope, she called the spiritual consultant, a formidable man known as Papa Kumba. Their meeting took place as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in fiery hues. Its compound, hidden behind high walls, seemed both modern and ancient, smelling of rich incense and something indescribably metallic. Papa Kumba listened, his head cocked, his eyes like deep, knowing pools, as Amira recounted her tale of disappearing men and dwindling fortune. "You are bound," he declared, his voice a low rumble. "A spirit, crafted specifically for you, ensnares your destiny, snatching happiness just as it appears." The words were chilling, yet brought a strange comfort. It was not her fault, but a battle against an invisible foe. Papa Kumba requested a hefty sum, drawn from the last reserves of his inheritance, to begin his cleansing treatment. Handing over the money, Amira felt a desperate hope ignite. Perhaps this was the true fight, the real path to freedom. And indeed, my friends, for a time, it seemed Papa Kumba's treatment was a marvel to behold. The change began subtly, like the first green shoots after a long drought. A wealthy client, who had vanished months ago, reappeared with an order for exquisitely tailored loincloths. Then, a charming civil engineer named Fabian, a man of quiet strength, began to seek Amira's company not for fleeting flirtations, but for proper, earnest dates. Suddenly, the trickle of money turned into a flowing stream, allowing Amira to fill her shop with the finest silks and intricate patterns, and even to clear old debts. Amira's spirit soared. She felt lighter, as if a great weight had been lifted. Papa Kumba, she believed, had indeed cleared her path. She spoke of her spiritual journey to her friends, hints of divine intervention in her prayers. A quiet triumph settled within her, eclipsing the old envy she felt for others. She was, finally, moving forward, no longer shrinking under her mother's gaze or the veiled judgment of her peers. Fabien's presence was a balm to her weary heart. He spoke of a future, of shared dreams and building a life together. Amira dared to dream of the stability, the marriage, the home she had always longed for. Yet, as with all illusions, the peace was fragile. After but a moon's cycle, the good fortune began to curl, like milk left too long in the sun. The restful sleep of vindication gave way to something far more sinister. Then, my listeners, the true horror began. The nightmares arrived not as hazy fears, but as a physical torment, pressing Amira down, pinning her to her bed. She would awaken gasping, her limbs heavy and unwilling, experiencing the dreaded layers of night sky or nocturnal suffocation. In that terrible space between waking and sleeping, she saw fleeting shadows and ominous faces dance in the corners of her room, their eyes empty and cold, watching her. Each morning she rose, not rested but utterly exhausted, her body aching from invisible battles fought in the darkness. And just as quickly as it had arrived, the flow of money receded. Fabien, once so attentive, grew distant, his promises fading like whispers in the wind. Amira's newfound stability crumbled, replaced by a suffocating paranoia. She felt people pulling away from her, not just men, but even the casual clients and neighbors who once greeted her warmly. She was constantly tired, prone to sudden bursts of anger, and found herself entangled in petty quarrels with strangers. The cleansing had twisted into a deep spiritual contamination. Frantically, Amira called Papa Kumba, her voice trembling with fear. He, however, sounded strangely calm, almost dismissive. "It means your aura is fighting fiercely, my dear. You have opened bad doors. I must perform a second, far stronger treatment to truly seal your protection." He then, with chilling casualness, mentioned that this remedy would cost nearly twice her initial payment. A cold dread enveloped Amira. She had poured her last inheritance into her hands, relying on the man who now seemed to be the very source of her renewed torment. She realized with a sickening clarity that she was trapped in a spiritual and financial abyss she could not escape. In her rising panic, Amira sought solace from the friend who had first given her Papa Kumba's number. She poured out her tale of the suffocations, the ghostly apparitions, and the spiritual consultant's demand for yet more money. Her friend listened, her face unreadable. "Amira, you must have strayed from the path," she said, her voice betraying a hint of accusation. "These spiritual workings are not for everyone. When you open such a door, you must know how to close it." Then her friend offered a chilling thought, a whisper that sent shivers down Amira's spine. "Some of these spiritual guides, they are but tools in the hands of your enemies. They pretend to offer light, but in truth they steal your last remnants of luck and pass them to another." The implication was a serpent in Amira's heart. One of her own circle, perhaps one of the very friends she envied, might be the unseen enemy, orchestrating her downfall. Who was it? The smooth-talking classmate with the boutique? The friend with the ever-new car? Amira remembered her cousin's earnest advice, the path of prayer she had abandoned. Her friend, now surprisingly firm, reiterated, "Return to the prayers, Amira. That other road, it is not for you. You need true, pure cleansing." A new resolve hardened Amira's heart. She knew now she needed to unmask the betrayal to find the true source of her spiritual affliction. But first, she had to escape Papa Kumba's grasp without losing the last of her precious inheritance. A dangerous game, she decided, must now be played. Amira understood she could not simply vanish from Papa Kumba's sight. His power, real or imagined, was a threat. She called him back, her voice carefully sweetened with feigned reluctance and renewed subservience. "Dad, I strive to follow your words, but the money for the second treatment, it is simply beyond my reach right now," she pleaded, her voice a soft lament. "My business still struggles, but I desperately crave the relief. Is there any other way I can offer my payment? I am truly at your mercy." Papa Kumba's reply was disturbingly swift. A pause, then a low, guttural chuckle that slithered through the phone, raising goosebumps on Amira's skin. "There is always another path for a beautiful woman with a willing heart, Amira," he purred, his tone shifting from wise spiritual guide to something overtly carnal and predatory. He proposed a secret meeting, not in his compound, but at a discreet, private residence far from the watchful eyes of Douala. Amira felt a wave of profound disgust, but beneath it, a cold, sharp resolve began to form. This man, who claimed to heal souls, was but a common opportunist preying on the desperate. The anger that rose through her was a sudden, clarifying fire. This, she realized, was her chance to turn the hunter into the hunted, to find the leverage she needed against her tormentor. If he was a fraud, he must harbor secrets. She agreed to the meeting, feigning deep sorrow, knowing full well she was stepping into a viper's nest. She needed a witness, a confidant, someone to guard her path, or at least to carry her final words if things went wrong. Amira knew she could not face Papa Kumba's darkness alone. Her thoughts turned to her elder cousin, the one who had so often endured the neighborhood's cruel barbs, the very whipping post of communal gossip. Amira found her at her small roadside breakfast stand, the scent of hot porridge filling the morning air. There, she poured out the whole scandalous tale, the failed cleansing, the terrifying nocturnal suffocations, and Papa Kumba's vile transactional demand. Her cousin listened intently, stirring her pot with a steady hand, her face hardening with a grim, familiar understanding. "I told you, Amira, the fasts and prayers are the true path," she whispered. "These men, they only take what you offer them." But then, the cousin's composition broke, and her eyes welled with unshed tears. "I know that feeling, Amira, the desperation. You believe they are your saviors. I walk that path too." The revelation struck Amira like a bolt of lightning. Her pious cousin, too, had sought the help of a spiritual consultant. But not Papa Kumba, she clarified, her voice strained. "Mine was in Yaoundé. He spun the same tale. I was cursed. I gave him everything, and he gave me a potion to drink. My business bloomed for 3 weeks, then my luck fled entirely, and I too suffered the night beds. But when I returned to prayer, I learned the bitter truth. He was a tool of my ex-husband's new fiancé." Amira felt a chilling wave of understanding. The true battle was not against unseen spirits, but against the festering malice of human hearts. Amira's resolve now burned with a fierce, unwavering flame. She shared her dangerous plan with her cousin, to meet Papa Kumba, to secretly record his sordid proposition, and then to threaten exposure to the very religious community he claimed to serve. Her cousin, her own past wounds fueling her determination, offered crucial counsel and assistance. "You cannot go to that private place he named, Amira. It is too isolated, too dark. Tell him your son is suddenly ill and you must meet somewhere public, yet still private." They chose a high-end hotel bar in the elegant Bonanjo district, a world away from Amira's humble neighborhood. A place where Papa Kumba would feel secure, yet where the eyes of onlookers would always be near. With her cousin's skilled hands, a tiny recording device was carefully sewn into the lining of Amira's handbag. The cousin also provided a dark, potent powder ground from traditional herbs. "Put this in his drink," she instructed, her gaze firm. "It will not harm him, but it will soften his senses, disarm his cunning. It will guard you while you uncover the truth." Amira felt a tremor of fear, but beneath it, a surge of adrenaline. She was no warrior, yet the thought of reclaiming her dignity, her stolen money, and her very life imbued her with the fierce, unyielding courage. This was her fight against the insidious exploitation that had plagued her. As she dressed for the perilous meeting, choosing an outfit that exuded quiet strength, she looked into the mirror, no longer seeing a victim, but a woman ready for battle. The Bonanjo Hotel bar, with its hushed whispers and scent of aged whiskey, felt like a gilded cage. Amira sat alone at a secluded table, her heart throbbing like a drum, awaiting the man who, she now knew, held not her destiny but her truth. Papa Komba arrived, a figure of imposing grandeur in a flowing white agbada, looking less like a spiritual consultant and more like a prosperous merchant. A calculating smile played on his lips as he greeted her. "You are indeed a woman of keen intelligence, Amira," he purred, ordering 2 sparkling waters. As his attention momentarily strayed to the approaching waiter, Amira, with a practiced grace, slipped the herbal powder into his glass, remembering her cousin's solemn warning, "Use it only to gain time." She began the conversation, her voice calm and controlled, expressing her inability to afford the second exorbitant payment. Then, with cunning artistry, she shifted the blame to herself. "I fear I have displeased the spirits, Papa. Tell me, what must I do, in your personal service, to truly mend this broken path?" Papa Komba leaned closer, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial murmur, utterly oblivious to the tiny recording device hidden in her bag. He then, with chilling clarity, laid bare his indecent proposal, detailing the private service he expected in exchange for spiritual protection and the full return of his initial payment. He saw Amira not as a soul in need, but as prey. As he spoke, he took a long, slow drink of the water. Amira watched, a wave of nausea rising in her throat, knowing with a dreadful certainty that she had snared him in her trap. As the subtle herbal powder began its work, Papa Kumba's eyes took on a slightly glazed quality, his usual cunning softened. Amira saw her moment. She pressed him, her voice low and insistent, about the bad dreams, the vanishing money, demanding a deeper explanation. "Papa," she urged, "the money that disappeared, the luck that fled, where did it truly go?" In his sudden disarmed state, the man chuckled darkly, a sound void of mirth, and confessed. "The money resides with the one who cursed you, Amira. It takes a price to turn the spirits against a person, you know." Then he revealed the shocking truth that shattered Amira's world. "I was paid not only to cleanse you, but to ensure your continued failure." Amira's blood ran cold. The curse was real, but the cleansing had been a cruel disappointment. "Who paid you?" Amira asked, her voice a strained whisper of controlled fury. Papa Kumba squinted, then lazily, as if reciting a trivial fact, named the orchestrator of her torment. Your friend Belinda. She always harbored a bitter envy for your inheritance, your strength with your son. She paid me to ensure your relationships withered and your business crumbled. She wanted you poor and utterly broken. The confession was a devastating blow, yet also a powerful key. Amira pressed the tiny stop button on the recorder, her heart heavy with the scandalous truth. Her closest friend had woven the very web of her suffering. With the damning recording clutched in her hand, Amira walked out of the bar, leaving the confused Papa Kumba to awaken to his folly. Her goal had profoundly shifted, my friends. It was no longer simply about finding a husband or building a successful business. It was about securing justice and reclaiming the rightful peace for herself and her son. She understood now that the true fight was not against unseen spirits, but against the insidious human jealousy and exploitation that lurked beneath the vibrant surface of Cameroon. Amira and her cousin, united by shared scars, meticulously planned their next move. First, an anonymous copy of the recording, accompanied by a scorching letter, was sent to a revered religious elder, a man known for his fierce opposition to the charlatans who preyed on the vulnerable. Within a single day, whispers of Papa Kumba's indiscretions began to ripple through the bustling neighborhoods. Next, Amira summoned Belinda to an urgent private meeting at a fashionable cafe, a stage where quiet drama would inevitably draw a crowd. She waited until they were both seated, then, with deliberate slowness, placed a small, innocent-looking envelope on the table. Belinda, ever the picture of sweet innocence, opened it with a curious smile. Inside lay 2 items: a cold, hard transcript of Papa Kumba's damning confession, and a printed bank statement revealing a substantial recent transfer from Belinda's account to an unknown recipient. Belinda's face drained of all color, the mask of friendship shattering into a chilling tableau of guilt and malice. "The fight is over, Belinda," Amira whispered, her voice steady and clear, yet just loud enough to carry to the tables nearby. "I know everything." Belinda, trapped in the unforgiving spotlight, stammered out denials, muttering about loans to a fictional cousin. Amira simply placed the tiny voice recorder on the table and pressed play. Papa Kumba's gravelly voice filled the air, describing in vivid detail the price of the curse and the bitter envy that had consumed Belinda's heart. The reaction was immediate and utterly scandalous. A woman at an adjacent table, recognizing both Amira and Belinda, gasped aloud, her hand flying to her mouth. Within moments, the entire cafe buzzed with the shocking revelation. Belinda, utterly humiliated and exposed, sprang from her seat, overturning her chair in her haste, and fled the cafe in a storm of tears, leaving her perfectly arranged lunch untouched. Amira, calm amidst the chaos, simply sat and slowly sipped her water, a profound sense of vindication washing over her. The public unmasking of the betrayal did more than just shatter a false friendship. It broke the insidious spiritual hold over Amira. The community's response was a wave of fierce loyalty. Papa Kumba's clientele vanished overnight. His business, built on disappointment, crumbled under the weight of the scandal. Amira's own reputation, once shadowed by whispers of bad luck, was now forged in the fierce fire of resilience and bravery. Her remaining friends, chastened by Belinda's downfall, rallied around her. That very night, the terrifying nocturnal suffocation ceased, replaced by a deep, restful sleep. With the darkness lifted, Amira made a quiet but firm decision. She was done seeking love from others for a time. Her path had shifted entirely. The true fight, she realized, was now for her own economic independence and for the peaceful, joyful future of her son. With newfound intensity, she poured out the raw fury and pain of the betrayal into her work, transforming it into a powerful, creative energy. The scandal, ironically, became a strange kind of blessing for her business. Women, drawn by sympathy and curiosity, flocked to her shop, eager to support the brave soul who had faced down both a spiritual charlatan and a treacherous friend. Amira wisely invested the money she had almost lost to the second treatment into acquiring higher quality fabrics and a state-of-the-art sewing machine. She began to forge connections with prestigious boutiques in the heart of Douala, securing contracts for bespoke tailoring. The money, now clean and uncursed, flowed freely and continuously. Fabienne, the civil engineer, called, full of elaborate apologies and earnest excuses. Amira listened to him with polite detachment, then, with quiet finality, ended their conversation. She no longer felt the need for a man to validate her worth or to fund her dreams. She had secured the stable income from her father's studios, and her shop was thriving beyond her wildest expectations. She was no longer looking outward for salvation, but inward, drawing strength from the depths of her own spirit. The old fear and shame were replaced by an unshakable pride.